Good morning and welcome back, everyone, to the third and last day of the World Nuclear Exhibition. I see some new faces in here, and I see some usual faces that have been coming with us during the past 3 days. Now, we have a lot going on this morning, and this includes a diverse pool of speakers. Before we start, I would like to remind the speakers that you will come through this part of the stage, and then you will leave through this part of the stage to avoid collision. And you will be coming up as you are named, so no worries about it. Now, so far we've covered tons and talked about the nitty-gritties of technology, the supply chain, the collaboration with regulators, and even the construction locations. But what about the people? What about the engineers, the designers of the future of nuclear reactors? We are going to be discussing a lot about the pivotal skills and human resources needed to excel in the world of nuclears. Our next speakers will share experiences from around the world and chat about how the industry can up its competitive advantage. Joining us on stage is Anne-Charlotte Dagorn, Marketing and Communication Director at Assystem. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paris and to the WNE. My name is Anne-Charlotte Dagorn, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all for this keynote on building a diverse pool of talent for nuclear industry success. So let's jump right into it and discuss the challenges at stake, as well as the solutions that could be widely deployed at the industry level. I will guide you through the different segments of the panel, and it will be my great honor to moderate the discussions between our great speakers. Please remember that you can access live translation by scanning the QR code right behind me. But without further ado, please welcome on stage Christian Vega from International Youth in Nuclear Congress. So, International Youth in Nuclear Congress has conducted an exclusive global survey to assess how young professionals already working in the industry, as well as students who might in the future feel about the nuclear sector. We are delighted to present you with the first results today. So, Christian, could you tell us a bit more about this survey? And we have the slides coming up behind you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Charlotte. Hello, everyone. Please, next. Yeah, well, basically, what happened is that some time ago, as Charlotte said, I became the vice president of WNE, and in that term, some time ago, I started wondering myself, how can actually we get some idea of what, it's very hard, sorry, of how actually you can get meaningful data about what young generation thinks around the world. What are the fears, what are the barriers that they see, and how actually, what are the motivations and to actually move forward into their careers. Because what happens basically is that too often organizations approach a certain community that they want to help by saying, this is what I think you need, and I'm going to use all my resources to actually help you. But not too many organizations stop for a while to think and to make sure that you're asking the right questions before trying to provide the right answers. So this project was about trying to understand the mindset of the young generation worldwide.
So, Christian, looking at the results that you got, what are the main motivations of the respondents to work in the nuclear industry today?
Yeah, perfect. Just
next slide
first. Yeah. Okay, this is just a short video about the dashboard, which will be available on WNE website for people to analyze the data and to see it and make filters and see by yourself. But basically, the results were really remarkable. With work in this project, really studying how to apply a proper methodology, how to actually apply the math, the metrics. We work locally. We literally form teams in every nuclear country in the world through WNE network that were reaching organizations and young generations per country to actually develop a survey that was translated in 41 languages by native speakers and distributed through the organizations. If you can change the slide for the next one. Basically, what comes out of the data that we can analyze, actually this is, I will very shortly show a few things, but believe me, this is just 5% of what we got. What you can see in the data is that worldwide, country after country, there are a few tendencies that you can easily see. The first one is that when we ask people in this range of age from 30 to 37, do you believe that climate change will have an impact in your life in the future? And most of the people systematically, nowhere where they are, they answer yes. And also, it's not only that, when we ask about do you believe that your actions can actually make a difference towards this, most of the people systematically, everywhere, answer yes, which I believe is a powerful message to our industry, because we need to double our capacity and also cope with nuclear power plants and the decommission by 2050. Also, something important that came in the same way, systematically, nowhere where you ask, was what was important. What's important for you when you want to stay on a show or apply for a show? And was always the same tendency. First, growing opportunities, challenging project, and working environment. More important than salary, more important than company reputation, things like that. This is something that we could see worldwide.
So from the results that you got, have you seen that there is any critical points, any level that industrial leaders should have in mind to build this diverse pool of talent?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can change to the next one. Basically, another thing that also pops up quite easily is when we ask people, did you receive a promotion in the last 5 years? Yeah? And that's something, if you remember from the previous slide, what was most important for people actually growing opportunities. And it doesn't seem to reflect on what's going on, really, on industry. And there's a small difference suggesting that men do get more promoted than women, still. Yeah? But that's actually not the most shocking thing, because when we ask about, do you feel that your ethnicity, religion, gender can actually have an impact in your future opportunities within the industry, you can see the difference between female on the right and men on the left. There's still a huge gap that people will perceive themselves, women will perceive themselves as having less opportunities in the future just because of their gender.
Thank you very much. So as a conclusion, maybe, Christian, what are the next steps for this survey and for your research?
Indeed, if we can change to the next slide. Basically, we are willing to apply this for the people to come in the WNE on the every 2 years term basis. So we'll repeat it. All this information will be available in a report in the website, because we really aim to provide some meaningful data to the organizations in the nuclear industry so we can become more effective and more efficient. So we have a whole procedure of lessons learned, documentation, and guidance to apply this project in the same solid methodology and with the same solid methodology in the same way all along the years. This will enable us to develop policies, all of us, to develop policies, indicators, and actually long-term strategy based on meaningful data. We are releasing this in the WNE website. We're going to be a report explaining all the methodology early next year. And the main thing and the main message that the reason why this was a successful project and the first of a kind that we did is because we really reach organizations in each one of the countries. So what I will encourage all of you is to partner with us to help us get this data, which is available for all of us, to make us better as an industry.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Thank you.
So thank you for this introduction. I think we would all be interested to know what our industrial leaders are thinking about all this. To do so, I now welcome on stage Catherine Bach, Alikan Sifzi, Marielle Smith, and Refei. Welcome to all of you. So when trying to build a diverse pool of talent for the industry, what I would like to know is what are the main challenges that your companies or your countries, more generally speaking, are facing? And what would be interesting is to know if there are different situations or similarities between the different regions of the world. Maybe Marielle to start?
Oui, bonjour. So When we look at our main challenges in our business at Urenco across the world, we feel that into attracting talent, attracting diverse talent is the biggest challenge. And what that diversity means depends on the geographical area where we look at, and we try to find a representation of the local geographical demographic. But generally speaking, and particularly in Europe, we see a big challenge in attracting women for roles in operations and engineering.
Thank you. Catherine?
So maybe for France, let's start with France because we're in Paris. But yeah, I think we consider it not only an EDF challenge, but an industry challenge, because this is something that we need to sort together to make sure we had no competition for talents. That's number one. We need to find solutions together. In terms of scale, Luc Raymond mentioned it, I think, yesterday or the day before. EDF is recruiting 10,000 people per year in the next 10 years. And if we think about our supply chain, we're circa about 15,000 people. So it's simply incredible. It's 2 to 3 times what we're doing today. And its second challenge maybe is also the variety of skills that we are addressing, but it can go from engineering, project management to really site work, people in the factory, so welders, steel fixers. But we do have one opportunity which has been highlighted earlier, is that really the sensitivity to climate change is making so that we have more people coming. So maybe what are we doing? I think we promote heavily with industry apprenticeship. And create really dedicated scholarship where we learn not only the know, but also the skills. I think a lot of things like CDF, high school, developing also the way we locate our excellence center all across France and in the UK now, but also cooptations. Voilà. But we know choices happen at school, and that's where we need to go.
Thank you very much. Alikan?
Well, hello all. The nuclear energy journey of Turkey dates to 1950s by gaining momentum at a global stage. And Turkey, especially after 1965, the nuclear power plant target was in the agenda of every government, but there were numerous failed attempts until the 2000s. So. And finally, on 3rd of April 2018, the first concrete was poured at Akkuyu NPP, Unit 1, and then the construction of the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th units was moving on. Until the start of the construction of Akkuyu NPP, Turkey faced significant challenges in the nuclear energy sector, primarily the shortage of skilled and well-trained professionals. We can list the challenges like the capabilities of the manufacturing industry were not enough to handle the nuclear industry requirements, and lack of familiarity with the high-quality production existed. And despite the presence of university departments offering education in the nuclear energy sector, there were also deficiency in opportunities to assess and enhance the qualifications of engineers graduating from these institutions. And finally, through Akkuyu NPP, we now support the expertise of our engineers and train them train a pool of qualified human resources in this domain. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll come back on that in a second. Mr. Hofe.
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, I would like to share some situation in China, also with Zhejiang. In China, everybody knows that we do have a very ambitious target for nuclear development. I would like to say in the next few years, there would be 6 to 8 units every year to be approved and to be constructed at the same time. So where are the talents from? We do have some challenges. Here I would like to share 2 points. One is that we do have shortage about the top talent. To be honest, the whole industry and CGN also start quite late to train the high-level talent. That's the case. The second challenge, main challenge, is it is quite difficult to attract more people, more students, young guys, to join the nuclear family. I just give you two examples. The first is that the kids of most of our industrial leaders not really engaged in nuclear cycle. Of course, there are a lot of other good business like e-commerce, AI, cutting-edge areas, renewables, something like that. But I mean, most of the industrial leaders will not put their kids into this industry. Most of the guys are not interested at the traditional industry, actually. I'm myself, also as an example, I was ever working in nuclear fuel cycle for almost 10 years, but now I'm stepping into the renewable business. That's the case. That's the challenges.
Thank you very much. So, Marielle, you mentioned attracting talents, diverse talent as a challenge. Is your company already acting on this, deploying actions and programs that you think could be deployed more broadly within the industry?
Absolutely. So I think the first thing that I would focus on, which we've worked hard on in the past couple of months, was really focusing on developing a strong employee value proposition. Understand what your promise is to your future employees and to your current employees, and really clearly identify the role you play and how you can make a difference for them. That piece of work it's a big piece of work, and it's to be taken seriously because you can really make yourself point out in the industry and other competitors in the market for employees. And I think as in the industry, as companies in this industry, we have a unique purpose. And we heard Mr. Veka talk about it as well. I think this is a great momentum that it would be such a shame if we don't benefit it for the nuclear industry, to really understand that young people, new employees for the business, to be very clear on what the purpose is of our organization, of our industry, and the future of this world. And I think there's also a great opportunity if we can work together on that and find collaborations to identify what does that mean, and how to communicate that, and what is the language they speak. Is the most, I would say, the critical thing to focus on and to really make you stand out in the market. There's already also some really great examples going on currently in the industry in collaboration with other companies. We have the Marie Curie Fellowship with the IAEA. We have a big campaign in the UK where we expect to have to attract 120,000 people for the industry in the next 2 decades. And I guess those are really strong initiatives to really attract that new workforce that's coming in and to make best use of this momentum. But there's also local opportunities, which I would like to just briefly touch on. If we look, for example, in our site on the Netherlands, we have a strong collaboration with not just nuclear companies, but other companies in engineering and operations, where we have school programs starting at the age of primary school, introducing the nuclear and the technical sector very early on, creating that unconscious awareness of that this is actually a really great opportunity we have, and you have to start early. And we bring that to high schools where we work on workshops to really clearly bring that EVP to life. And I guess that would be my best recommendation for now. Yeah.
Thank you. So Catherine, beyond attracting talents, there's also the need to train and retain them. I know this is something you work on, especially in the UK, I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're still a young team in the UK, created formally as a standalone entity a few weeks ago. So we are doing a lot effectively, first to train, and one key way to train people is graduate scheme, where people young students almost spend time in the UK, but also almost 1 year and a half in France to learn about our different disciplines, métiers, and then come back to the UK with these skills. I think the second, but it's only the start of a long journey, I think we create also a very learning and diverse environment. We have the chance being close to the construction site of Hinkley Point C, so we can combine both experience in more design work, but also see it really on the site, close to the construction. We really promote also agile ways of working, very flexible, and we have a very diverse workforce, more than 40 nationalities. But the last point, which is critical to us, is to establish career paths. So even though we're 700 engineers right now, we are very connected to the wider IDF UK business so that our people can grow in engineering, but go and have some other experience and come back to us with, yes, more skills.
Thank you very much. Alikan, you mentioned kind of starting from scratch. How did you manage to find and train the nuclear experts you needed for the industry and for the Akuyu project?
Thank you. Nuclear energy has become one of the main energy agendas in Turkey, thanks to the decisive stance and role of our government. Young people have shown a various and serious interest in the nuclear sector. Our Ministry of National Education sends our students for post-graduate education in the nuclear field, and when the students return, they are directed to the relevant field in the nuclear sector by the state. And we can say that this is one of the most critical points in creating a talent pool in the nuclear field. Then, thanks to Akkuyu, our young Turkish engineers are trained for the NPP. Between 2011 and 2023, 296 Turkish experts completed their education in Russia, and these young engineers now continue to work successfully in the project as part of the joint training program between two nations, which aims to train personnel to work in Akkuyu. So they are involved in installing the nuclear power plant and post-assembly control works. The training program for Akkuyu NPP aims to train also 300 more young people, young Turkish engineers, by the end of 2027, after their educations in Russian universities, within the same frame agreement between two countries.
And I think when we prepared the panel, you also insisted on the importance of attracting experts from other industries to the nuclear industry, right?
Yeah, correct. Transferring skills from other industries, such as oil and gas, renewable industries, and construction industries. This means, also, while making this, you can transfer the skills by making international collaborations, actually. By doing that, you ensure the know-how transfer and technology transfer, also transferring the skills in the required areas.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hofe, you mentioned in your introduction and when we were preparing the panel, interesting initiative to foster the training of nuclear talents. Could you tell us a bit more about how you do that in China?
Yeah, Sejin always trying to figure out the solutions to all of the challenges. I just would like to give you an example. Mr. Ali can just mention joint training. Actually, Sejin created a project of joint training with universities. We had an agreement with over 20 universities in the past years to join training the students. In China, the undergraduate students always have 4 years of study in the universities. And we will select some of them, some of the candidates, from the beginning of the third year. The deal is like this. We will sign an internship letter, something like that, with the students. And we will pay for them for the fee and some extra money. And the students will have additional nuclear classes besides their normal classes. So at last, all the students passed the classes and exams could be awarded a contract by CGM. So that's both beneficial and attractive. Over the past years, we have trained over 5,000 students. I mean, over 5,000 contracts, actually. That's quite, amazing. The point is that, all of the students can take their jobs and responsibilities from the first day they joined the CGM. That's really, good practice. Yeah, thank you.
Very impressive. Thank you very much. So we talked about the challenges. We also mentioned solutions. As a conclusion, what would be, according to you, the one key point that industry leaders or countries should have in mind to be successful in building this diverse talent pool? Catherine, do you want to start?
We talked about attracting women because they are still not a huge part of the workforce. So for my business, we have 23%, but 27% in the leading role, which is better. And as part of that, Sizolsi project, for example, which will be somehow UK government-led, has put gender diversity objectives in their contract. So we will have to make efforts on that area, which is good. But my personal experience is it's more through role model that we really can attract women. The main challenge I've seen is already for the women we do have in the business. They less consider themselves capable of going to the next steps. So having role model is something very important. Normal women can do a lot of things, and we need to push that. But the other challenge and where we need to act is exactly what you said, is choices are made when people are between 13 and 15 years old at school, and that's where we need to go. We are going with Association Elle Bouge in France as other work stream in the UK, but that's where we have to push.
Thank you. Marielle?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things to do is actually to really open the floodgates. Think outside the box in terms of talent. It's only natural that we are biased to what we think is the best talent, but I think if we invest as an industry and as companies in the mentoring and coaching and developmental skills from managers, to actually not just keep looking for oven-ready people, but be open-minded to people from underrepresented groups, but also build that skills and capability within the organization to build that talent within the organization. I think will create a huge opportunity because both candidates as companies are working with biases, and I think if we become conscious of it, we can break through of them. Yeah.
Thank you. Alikan?
Well, again, to us, the key points would be transferring skills from other industries, such as renewable, oil and gas, and construction industries, and also ensuring technology and talent transfers by making international collaborations. Currently in Turkey, there are discussions about constructing the second and the third MPPs, and also SMRs in the near future. These new nuclear power plants would address a huge demand of experienced human resources. Similar to our collaboration with the Rosatom, we also aim to replicate this success with other countries as well. Considering the growing demand for specialized and qualified human resources, our association, Nuclear Industry Association of Turkey and Ankara Chamber of Industry, we are activating several memorandum of understandings with various nations to diversify and enhance the talent pool in the nuclear field in Turkey. In this context, we welcome all forms of collaborations with other countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Othe.
My opinion is like this. The key point is that we should always give the public, the young people, the students, clear and sustainable expectations on nuclear development. I mean, we cannot always change the policies. Unlike some of the European countries, maybe France, today you say I will reduce, I will stop nuclear. Tomorrow you say I will start again. I mean, that's the case, but since always for people are always willing to commit to something with clear expectations. That's my opinion.
Giving a good visibility. Well, thank you very much to all of you for your insights. So I would now like to focus on the solutions. To do so, the next segment will focus on actions and programs that already exist and that we believe could have a significant impact if they were deployed more broadly within the industry. To talk about this, I'm very happy to welcome on stage Grace, Maria, and Corentin. So a first challenge that we all have in mind and that we've discussed already this morning is how can we constantly try to improve the attractiveness of the industry? A lot has been done already in that regards. Grace, you've spent a lot of time yourself these past years talking about nuclear energy in schools. Why do you think this is such an important topic to talk about with the young generation, and how does your action contribute to the attractiveness of the industry?
I have traveled over 210,000 miles in the past 11 and a half months, speaking to various groups of people ranging from kindergartners all the way up to nursing home residents and politicians, literally everyone you can imagine. And the most important thing about bringing nuclear energy into schools is because Gen Z's generational issue is climate change. Young people nowadays feel this impending doom on us because of climate change. It's something we didn't choose, but it's our responsibility to fix. And nuclear is that pathway to moving forwards, to creating reliable and carbon emissions-free energy. I'm so excited to help inspire this next generation of young kids going into nuclear science. Within America, we're starting to see undergraduate enrollments increase, and I'd like to start seeing that happen globally.
So you are saying you speak to a very wide audience from kindergarten to university students. So I guess you adapt your messages to your audience. Do you use different key points to attract them to the industry?
Yes, I certainly do, because, you know, when I talk to kindergartners, we keep it simple, right? We're boiling water, we turn a turbine. But with high schoolers, we can talk a little bit more about their future. I know high school was not that long ago for me, and making that decision of what I wanted to do with my life was a very existential, life-altering decision, it feels like, right? Choosing your major and going through and making that decision of what you're gonna work in for the rest of your life. But it's pretty simple with nuclear, because it's about finding your passion, whether it's working as a technician, working as an engineer, working in communications, working on the policy side of things. We've got legal teams. We have a place for everybody in nuclear. and we're high paying too. That hits a chord with high schoolers pretty well as well. So it really does depend on the audience to appeal to their desires, appeal to what they're looking for and what they're prioritizing.
Thank you. Maria, at the EIA, you also work on the attractiveness of the industry, but more specifically towards women. I believe you are running a program to do so.
Yes, thank you, Charlotte. Yes, we have a dedicated program with the goal to inspire and encourage young women to pursue a career in the nuclear field. It's called the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Fellowship Program. So how do we attract women to enter the nuclear career? So we provide a scholarship package for master's program in nuclear-related fields, and as well as an internship opportunity for hands-on experience afterwards for up to 1 year. So when I said the nuclear field, it's really all nuclear field, from nuclear engineering, science, technology, applications to safety, security, non-proliferation, and even nuclear law. So this program was launched by our Director General in 2020. We are now in the 4th year of implementation, and we have just selected the last intake, and we have selected a very strong and diverse pool of women. There are 560 of them by now. They represent 121 different nationalities. It's a very diverse pool. We are very proud of that. And they all study in 72 different countries around the world. And the program already delivers results. It's in the 4th year, as I said. So we have 170 students who have completed their master's program. A big part of them have embarked on their career in the nuclear sector or continued in PhD studies in their research work. So, and the others have opted for internships facilitated by us in the program, and we have already placed 92 interns at the IEA, but also at external organizations. And we are looking forward to diversifying the pool of organizations who will host our interns. And also, just to briefly mention, there are also additional benefits for the MSFP recipients. They can network, be mentored by role models, by inviting them into the technical events, conference and symposium, and they present, get themselves known, get to know people, experts in the nuclear sector to facilitate their future career. Thank you.
But I guess attractiveness and attracting women is only the first step. We also need to do our best to retain them, of course, in a very competitive environment. So Maria, there is another program that you are working on to specifically retain women in the nuclear industry, right?
Yes. We have also the second program we're very proud of. It's called the Lisa Meitner program. It's a natural continuation of the Marie Curie program, and it focuses on retention and career development of women professionals in the nuclear sector. So we are targeting these women professionals in their early to mid-career, let's say 3 to 10 years of experience. The goal is to enhance their technical skills, but also their soft skills, their leadership potential, project management, knowledge management, all this soft skills package that is indispensable for their career advancement. So for these purposes, our team organizes multi-week professional visits in various nuclear facilities hosted by the IAEA member states. So we gather smaller cohorts, groups of women professionals with similar background and experience, and these visits are focusing on certain area of nuclear. So again, the whole spectrum is open, but we group them by specialization. And the program includes on-site lectures, discussions, interactive training, laboratory analysis, testing and measurement, modeling and simulations, you name it. So, and they have to, during this visit, they have the opportunity to talk to role models again, to experts in this area and the host organizations. They have the opportunity to network, to see something new that is, for them, is new and exciting. So just to mention that this program was very recently launched in March this year, and we have already implemented the first 2 cohorts in the United States of America, where they visited a number of fuel fab, research reactors, power reactors, as well as the 2 national labs. And we are in preparation for the next visits in 2024, which will take place in other countries and regions around the globe. And we very much welcome host organization to express their interest and work with us in implementing more of those in benefit of these women professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Before I ask the question to our next speaker, just remember that you can have live translation by scanning the QR code. So, Corentin, attracting, retaining talent is obviously key, but we also need to make sure that they are trained properly, and this is what you work on. Could you tell us a bit more about the FAI school in Normandy in France, working specifically on the training in the field of welding?
Thanks, Anne-Charlotte. Hello, everyone. I'm continue this panel in French and to present you FAIS. FAIS est né face à 2 constats. Le premier constat, un déficit quantitatif en matière de soudage pour répondre aux enjeux de la filière, puisqu'un rapport remis au gouvernement récemment stipule notamment d'un besoin de 1500 soudeurs à horizon 2033, donc il fallait trouver des solutions pour répondre à ce déficit quantitatif, également dû à un déficit d'attractivité du métier. Et le deuxième constat, un déficit qualitatif et besoin de renforcer le niveau d'exigence pour répondre aux enjeux de la filière. Tout ceci corroboré à un délai d'acquisition des compétences extrêmement long sur le métier du soudage. Donc il était essentiel de sécuriser les recrutements, à la fois au niveau national, au niveau local, au niveau international, sur la partie soudeur. Et donc face à ces challenges, on a 4 industriels qui se sont réunis, EDF, Orano, Naval Group et CMN, ainsi qu'un certain nombre de partenaires institutionnels pour créer une école d'excellence en matière de soudage et former demain les meilleurs soudeurs et soudeuses de France pour la filière du nucléaire. Et ainsi, FAIS base son enseignement sur l'excellence industrielle en matière de soudage pour faire bien du premier coup. Toute cette déclinaison, ça se passe comment? C'est l'intégration dans notre ingénierie de formation de l'acquisition de 3 savoirs. Évidemment, le savoir-faire, qui est la composante métier principale pour faire bien du premier coup, mais également l'acquisition de la culture industrielle, du knowledge lié à l'industrie dans laquelle les procédures, les processus dans lesquels les gens vont évoluer, et évidemment développer des comportements adaptés et opérationnels à l'emploi. Tout ça concrètement, ça se décline en 5 ingrédients. C'est de proposer aujourd'hui des moyens pédagogiques innovants et notamment des maquettes industrielles à l'échelle 1 où on a reproduit des environnements de centrales nucléaires pour effectivement mettre en situation réelle les apprenants et ainsi, de par ces moyens pédagogiques innovants, accélérer l'employabilité, répondre aux enjeux de la filière et former les talents de demain.
Thank you very much. So what results did you obtain so far and what are your ambitions for the future?
FAIS a ouvert ses portes il y a maintenant un peu moins d'1 an et demi et en lien avec les 2 cibles que je rappelais face au constat, à la fois le volet quantitatif sur augmenter le nombre de soudeurs et sur le perfectionnement de salariés et de soudeurs déjà en activité. On a aujourd'hui formé en 2023 pas loin de 180 soudeurs sur les deux cibles, environ 50% de personnes en recherche d'emploi, en reconversion professionnelle pour répondre au volet quantitatif, et 50% de salariés sur lesquels on est venu perfectionner le geste technique pour renforcer leur niveau d'acquisition et de compétences pour répondre aux enjeux de la filière. Sur les profils, si on fait un petit focus sur les profils des personnes en recherche d'emploi, les 90 soudeurs passés dans FAIS ont suivi 100% de leur formation en 2023 et ça a permis une réinsertion professionnelle à hauteur de 95% de ces personnes en recherche d'emploi. Donc finalement, après un an d'existence, un bilan extrêmement positif qui permet effectivement de se mettre en ordre de bataille pour former les talents de demain dont la filière nucléaire a besoin.
Thank you very much. And Corentin, do you feel this kind of schools could be deployed for other skills in the industry?
Yes. Le modèle construit aujourd'hui par des industriels, pour des industriels, en formant au plus près des conditions du réel, est évidemment un modèle qui est duplicable. Le modèle d'apprentissage par immersion est vraiment un facteur incontournable pour former ses talents et pour accélérer l'employabilité, pour être au rendez-vous des projets à venir. Et donc, FAIS, évidemment, est né autour du soudage manuel, mais on réfléchit déjà à d'autres évolutions, notamment autour des métiers de la tuyauterie, autour des métiers du contrôle non destructif. Donc oui, évidemment, c'est duplicable à d'autres métiers. On a aujourd'hui d'autres modèles similaires qui se développent en France, notamment dans l'industrie du naval, par exemple, pour former des opérateurs de pont, des capitaines de navires. Donc oui, évidemment, c'est un modèle qui est parfaitement duplicable et on est complètement en ligne pour effectivement réussir les challenges.
Thank you very much. So maybe as a conclusion for you all, do you feel the industry is moving in the right direction? And do you have any specific advice for the industry leaders listening to us today? Maybe Grace?
I certainly do feel like we're moving in the right direction. It has been so exciting for me. I started advocacy work really 4 years ago, and people are a lot nicer to me now when I talk to them about nuclear. It might be because I'm wearing a sparkly hat and a sash like this, but honestly, most people are open to learning about nuclear. Young people who are looking for a new job, who aren't sure what they want to do, when I make nuclear exciting for them, when I show them how it's present in Star Trek and Star Wars and in the Marvel movies and all of these things that they dream about as a young kid, all of a sudden they realize this is something I can do. It's something I want to do. And we're seeing that focus and that mission-oriented work come to life as young people are entering the workforce.
Thank you. Maria?
Yes, surely. And for these two programs, of course, we're happy for the support we have received so far. And we are looking forward to continue our collaboration with more and more companies or public organizations to host these young ladies for internships, for their practical hands-on experience, which we believe will benefit all parties because it's a natural transition maybe to job opportunities. It's also a fuel for them of what they want to do later on and how to develop further. We're also looking for organization to host our Liz Meitner professional visiting programs, as I said before. So we really want to expand further, provide all the opportunities for these ladies to retain, to advance in the nuclear field. And just wanted to mention one last thing. On the 7th and 8th of March next year, we organize a big event where we'll gather all our supported recipients. Will be close to 500 plus of them. And we have invited the industry organizations, internship hosts, member states, everybody to come and support us in this big event. It will be kind of a mentoring, networking, celebrating success, where we plan to bring role models, experts, HR, industry to exhibit and present job opportunities. So hopefully this will again contribute to the further success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Corentin, last word to conclude.
Je pense évidemment que l'industrie aujourd'hui est en ordre de marche pour réussir le challenge des compétences qui nous attend pour demain. Et c'est ensemble, parce que industriels, organismes de formation, on avancera tous main dans la main, qu'on gagnera évidemment le challenge des compétences. Et donc évidemment, ce modèle disruptif qui est FAIS à travers ce modèle par immersion complètement duplicable, et on est évidemment à l'écoute pour évidemment benchmarker, travailler ensemble pour évidemment accompagner la filière pour effectivement réussir ce challenge. Merci.
Thank you very much to all of you. So I would now like to leave the floor to the young generation of nuclear experts, as they will be the ones working on the huge nuclear programs that we have ahead of us. To do so, I would now like to invite Rosie, Gaspard, Alexia, and Benoit to join me on stage. Welcome to all of you. So maybe to start, could you introduce yourself and tell us why you chose to work in the nuclear industry? And why did you choose to keep working in this industry so far? Benoit, maybe to start with?
Yes. So I've started working in the nuclear industry by chance. Because recently graduated, I wanted to start my career abroad, so in a multicultural environment, and that's how I've taken a job opportunity at Framatome in Germany. So that's how I started, and 10 years later, so now I'm the manager of the supplier qualification team, so that's the team auditing the supply chain and making the supply chain ready for the new industrial program in France.
And why did you stay in this industry?
What did I stay? So I would say for maybe 3 simple reasons. First reason, of course, is the sense of the work. So I feel it like a chance to contribute to reach the net zero and to be part of this adventure, of course. Second reason is the trust. So I've proved to my manager that I was capable, and I had his trust. So that's why after 3 years, he promoted me as one of the youngest managers of the company, and it's really because of his trust. And this trust, to share the trust with the team, with the young generation, and so on, it makes me stay in the industry and to have this capability to have a promotion. That's very important. And third reason, it's the values of our industry, the safety, the integrity. I really love these values, and that's very important. I do not see such values in other industries, actually, and I feel the responsibility to share this value, to explain them to my team, to the colleagues, and to the young generation. So the values, the sense, and the trust, I would say.
Thank you. What about you, Rosie? What are you doing? Why did you start, and why did you stay?
Good morning. I'm Rosie Knight. I'm a junior project manager within Assystem in the UK. I began my nuclear career about 2.5 years ago, initially working as a graduate on Hinkley Point C. And then after my graduate scheme, I moved across to the decommissioning side of the business. I think similar to Benoit, I joined the industry because I was really attracted to the fact that I get to work on projects that are tackling climate change. But I think what's made me adamant in staying in the industry is just the diversity and vast amount of opportunities there are. I had the privilege of coming here 2 years ago when I first started in the industry, and I walked around all the stalls and the workshops, and I just thought, wow, I've got a career for life here, and I can be working on different technologies, be it EPR, fusion, small modular reactors. I can work all across the UK, but clearly across the globe as well. And then also the realization that my career is going to be unique, because whenever I land on a project, it's going to be different in time, because the design phase is so much different to commissioning, operations, decommissioning. So it's just completely unique. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing, and that's really exciting to me.
Thank you, Rosie. What about you, Gaspar?
Morning, everyone. So I've been convinced of the importance of the nuclear industry quite young, and it kept going during my studies and through my first experiences. So at the beginning of my career, I've worked 2 years in Paris between EDF and Advance on the HPC project in back office. And now it's been a year that I work for the Atomic Energy Commission, CEA, in Toulon. So what kept me going is the feeling of contributing to the energetic transition through complex projects that are very stimulating from an intellectual point of view. And the objective, of course, is to spread the word worldwide and support other nations to develop their own nuclear energy activities. So the industry is giving us lots of possibilities abroad, and the geopolitical aspects are captivating.
Thanks. What about you, Alexia?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. So as for myself, my background is nuclear engineering, and right now I am a technical coordinator in nuclear projects in the design phase. For example, I'm currently involved in the basic design of EPR 1200 activities for the CIBOP in particular. I had various roles in this industry so far. For example, from conducting nuclear fusion research in Spain to a diplomatic role as a nuclear attaché in the French embassy in Turkey, or from developing independent inspection activities on Akkuyu nuclear power plant construction site in Turkey as well. So your second question, Anne-Charlotte, was why I first started in this industry. I remember clearly being in high school and doing atomic physics in English. Yeah, and in particular one specific exam where I had to explain how a Geiger counter works. So I wouldn't say to you, because that would be not true, that I knew from that moment I would become a nuclear engineer, but it definitely sparked interests. And we heard it several times before in this panel. This is one stake of this industry, to inspire young generation, right, from early ages. So I did join this field, obviously, and after that it took another dimension, as I realized that contributing to producing low carbon electricity, it's much bigger than me, actually. And plus the geopolitical aspect of this meaning that I found in the industry. This is why I stayed.
Thank you very much. So have you benefited from any of the actions or programs that we've mentioned this morning, maybe mentoring or training? Rosie, maybe?
Yeah, so I've had the benefit of both training from Hinkley Point C and then also my time in ASSSTEM. I think what's been a significant benefit for me is mentoring, and I think in particular it's about having people in your network that you can talk to that are outside of your project environment. I think when you first join the industry, it's your first job, you know your initial team, you know what your colleagues are doing, what your boss is doing, and it's a very sort of linear progression, but you don't have that viewpoint of like the wider industry as much. So having those mentors that you can talk to who can tell you how their part of the industry is set up, what opportunities you're going to learn and what their experiences are given them. And then suddenly you have such a broad point of view that you wouldn't already have unless you had those mentors and role models. So I think it's incredibly important, and I do think, yeah, giving opportunities to build those networks in your companies and across the industry is really important.
Alexia, I think you've benefited from mentoring as well, right?
Yes, I did, indeed. I received a great deal of support from Assystem, the engineering company I'm working for, and I'm quite impressed actually with how Assystem is handling these topics. There's actually one topic I'd like to, in particular, talk about today. It's the Assystem graduate program that I benefited from. It's a 3-year concrete program, and during this program, you get to be mentored by a member of the direction of the company. So as for myself, I was mentored by the vice president of the company for the nuclear activity at that time, and I'm very thankful to him for the advices, precious advices, and long discussions that we had. Second, you get to do 3 different missions, various missions, 1-hour missions, we've won abroad, and usually on big projects like construction, like commissioning, and this is where you want to get the young people to be, because this is where you are actually learning efficiently, right? And then you get to access to some, let's say, internal seminars about the company strategy, and this gives you perspective within the company. It also gives you vision, and you get to build your professional network within the company, which is also, how can I say, creating the link with your company and a feeling of how can I say? Belonging, thank you, yeah.
And Alexia, did you, I think, also benefited from a specific training or coaching for women, or was it for graduates, generally speaking?
Yeah, I did also, but that was besides Assystem, for sure, and it was an interesting program because it was between the UK and France, and it was mentoring, and they would pair up it was within WNE program, so you would be paired up with one person from the other industry, and that was quite a good program as well.
Great, thanks. What about you, Gaspar? Any mentoring, training that you benefited from, and how did it help you in your career?
Yes, so I've benefited from mentoring in all my positions so far, mostly through pairing with some more experienced colleagues as well. I've switched position from different teams, from technical back office to project back office, and now it's more like technical and project on site. I wanted to see the site. And so I believe the variety of these opportunities, they enable me to develop skills and knowledge at a faster pace. And as Alexia was saying, the Assystem's graduate program, part 2, keeps up the needs of the developing quickly for the industry. The program makes us switch position, as you said, quite frequently, and enabling us to develop our range of knowledge through different activities of the group.
Great. So I guess another question that I have for you is that you are the young professionals who will be working on the big nuclear programs ahead of us. So do you feel the industry is moving in the right direction? And do you feel we should do some things differently, more, less? What's your vision on that? Maybe Benoit.
So maybe to answer, we'll start with a very short story. 10 years ago when I started and when I was with my friends, they asked me, where do you work? I answered, I work for the energy sector. Now, 10 years later, I answer, I work for a low carbon industry, the nuclear industry, and I'm proud to say that. So I think it shows that the mindset has changed and that it's a move ongoing. And in the French generation, so the young generation network in France, we are part of this movement. I will maybe mention three kind of actions. First kind of actions is that we work on the attractiveness. So we have to promote the nuclear industry. So we have a young professional talking to students, to over at schools, at university, to help them to project in the nuclear industry. This work on attractiveness is very important to build the future. Second kind of actions is that we offer the possibility to visit facilities so that the young professionals can fuel their passion. For instance, in January, we will organize the visit of several ONO facilities, so to see several parts of the fuel cycle. And these technical visits it's one of the key assets to make people stay in industry and maybe to make students dream and want to work in the industry. And third kind of actions, it is, you know, when at Christmas your family asks you ask you some questions about waste management or nuclear safety, and you feel embarrassed and you don't know how to answer. You are a little bit confused into two technical details. We give you the keys to answer that and to speak to the public. For instance, we have some booklet speaking about nuclear, parler du nucléaire, and with such kind of tools and our nuclear ambassador program, we help people to speak about nuclear in the public. So it shows that we are moving in the right directions. But yes, the second question was, what can we be done differently? So I mentioned the trust. Currently, the industry makes a lot of promises to the young generation. We hire a lot, but these promises have to be honored. So we may ask maybe some disturbing question, but please listen to us. And actually, this questioning attitude, it's a part of the nuclear safety. So please listen to us, trust us, give us responsibilities, and we will have a very diverse pool of talent for the long term.
Thank you very much. Gaspar, what do you feel we should do, maybe more or differently, and are we going in the right direction?
So I believe diversity is key. Of course, I'm going to focus on one aspect of diversity, which is the generational diversity. Transferring skills from senior experts to the next generation is one of the main challenges, I believe, for the industry. So mentoring is vital, not only to train people, but also to retain youth in the industry. Reverse mentoring is also quite important because it benefits both generations. We were mentioning the importance of digital, so reverse mentoring can contribute to the deployment of digital technologies, of course, because younger generation is most of the time more comfortable with it. It's then, I think, a virtuous cycle because we need to use digital technology and always strive to be more efficient and more innovative to attract and value the younger generation. I believe the industry is developing in the right direction, but we need still to be aware of the knowledge transmission. I witness in my position lots of very experienced people or teams that work on their own without any young generation being there with them to learn the specificities of their work. So maybe we could improve our efforts by trying to pair pre-retired people like 3 to 5 years before retirement with younger people, less than 5 years experience or even less than 10 years experience, and try to maintain or develop the fluidity of the knowledge transfer to the young generation.
Thank you very much. Rosie, what do you feel is really important, and are we moving in the right direction?
Yeah, I do think we are moving in the right direction. I had an amazing experience working on Hinkley Point C in the commissioning programme, where it was just an incredibly diverse team because we were bringing in experts from all around the globe, and it was a lovely, inclusive environment. Decommissioning, it is less culturally diverse due to the nature of the work. However, you can tell that, particularly amongst the younger demographic, there is more diversity. And I love at the moment that the majority of my managers are female, and it's incredible for me because they're all role models and I can look up to them and learn from them. But I do think, yeah, we need to do better. And I think for me, that's doing more and more outreach in schools. But in particular, really highlighting the amount of opportunities there are. I remember at university, I worked in the Women in Engineering Society, and we went into a local brownies, so a Girl Scout group, and we asked them, do you know what an engineer is? And they didn't particularly know. And then we all stood in a line in front of them, and we said, well, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm an electrical engineer, I'm a civil engineer, I'm a materials engineer. And their faces just lit up because there are so many different options. And I think in nuclear we have so many options as well. So I think we just need to push that at each stage of those career decisions when they're choosing their subjects, their universities, their apprentices and specialisms. And get each of those decision points highlight nuclear.
Thank you, Rosie. Alexia, what about you?
Yes, thank you. So I do feel that we are moving in the right direction. And I think like the point was made several times already, and I don't want to repeat. The global nuclear market is on the growth train with massive projects to come, and it's a market under transformation. So we see multiplication of the nuclear actors with startups, for example. We talked about digitalizations, and it's positive, but you do need a huge variety of profiles, not only technical profiles, right? So that we can tackle these challenges that are ahead. If we take France as an example, a figure was given that in the coming years we would need 150,000 people to be recruited by 2033. So to build a pool of talent, a diverse pool of talent, as we said, we can do several things. It was mentioned already several times in the panel. You can go to find expertise in other industries and provide them or give them the nuclear culture that is necessary to work with. I saw that on Akuyu nuclear power plant, for example, with the welding field. Most of the welding expertise, or most, I would say, sorry, part of the welding expertise was coming from the oil and gas industry, and it was necessary to go there and find these people for building these nuclear power plants. And then you have, for sure, we've been talking about that, the young generations, and you need to spark interest as early as possible. In that regard, industry is doing a great, I mean, it's going in the right direction, and we have many communications, events, specific programs being set up, mentorship being set up in the industries, in the companies. And young professionals, they have a new mindset. They are looking for meaning in what they do, especially we talked about the sensibility to climate change, and this is an angle we need to go for. They are looking for inclusive environment to work with. They're looking for flexibility and for job diversity. And they have plenty of choice. I mean, they're going out of school and they can go working in a SMR startup or to the big historical big player of the industry. So the market is dense, and I think for a challenge for the companies in the nuclear industry to be attractive and to build this pool of talents. And in my opinion, one game changer for the companies is to offer a diverse but coherent career path, and to build this with the person, to design it, to co-design it through mentoring. So it's not only mentoring, it's really to offer a career path and perspective, but within the company, diverse missions so that they can do different jobs and have a varied, I would say, profile. And another takeaway I love these discussions from this panel, that I guess will conclude from my part the panel, is that there is plenty of opportunities in this industry to come. And we have room for everyone in the years to come in this industry. So we need to rely on collaboration, and we do need to rely on diversity, whether it's cultural, generational, about skills, about experiences, and this will be necessary to tackle the challenges of tomorrow.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you. So, before we welcome our last guest for the conclusion of the keynote, I would like to welcome on stage all of our speakers for a final pictures to showcase the diversity of the panel, which is a good example of the diversity of the industry, I believe. Thank you very much to all of you, and thank you for being with us this morning. So we're going to have the pleasure to welcome Agnès Pannier-Runacher. French Minister for Energy Transition. She will be with us in 5 to 10 minutes to conclude this keynote. So we just need to be a bit patient. Thank you, everyone.